account. Need no pennies to make the fan proud. They see that we winning, they asking us out. They paying a figure to figure it out. In them KBA, shall we do this for the king? I love God, but I don't play. Don't want beef like Chick-fil-A. In my bubble, in my space, I'ma ball like NBA. Y'all just do this for the pay. Dog, we do this every day. Now, yeah. This not my kingdom. This not my kingdom. No, this is his. Don't live for myself.
What's good, NMKBH Nation? And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Not My Kingdom But His podcast. We're bringing a guest to tell their story of coming to Christ and understanding his love so that we can all grow from it and keep moving forward in our own personal relationships with Christ. Today, we have a very special guest. Met her at my time at UK FCA college basketball player, Keke McKinney. Why don't you tell NMKBH Nation a little bit about yourself? We really appreciate you.
Hi, y'all. So as he said, my name is Keke McKinney. That's my nickname. My first name is Keandra, but everybody calls me Keke. I am a senior here at the University of Kentucky. I'm on the women's basketball team. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, born and raised. And yeah, I'm spending my fourth year here, hoping to have a fifth year.
Okay, so you told us you played basketball. What is after college? What do you want to do? What's your career goals? What are you leaning at doing?
So I love to say that, I am honestly waiting on what God wants me to do. I have been praying for his vision. Like, I'm on this thing with Michael Todd, this 21-day fasting. And one of the days we talked about praying for vision. Whereas first I was just, like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And that was my plan. But I've learned that, if you pray for vision, you can't really have anything set. So what I was initially planning on doing was, I was going to either go overseas and play. If I had a chance to play at WBA, that would be lovely. I would take it. But if not, I would go overseas and then get my career started in social work. I am coming back for a fifth year to get my master's for social work. That is my plan. But again, I don't know. It's up to him, and I've been really intentional about when people ask me that, just make sure it's known that, it's really unknown. This is what I'm doing, but it could change.
Man, I love that. Understanding that God's way is the ultimate way. So we have our plans and we have what we think we want to do, but being flexible to whatever God calls us to do is a big key. So it's an amazing thing that you already know that. Now it's time for the big question, the question that NMKBH Nation loves to hear. When did you get to know Christ, and when did you really fall in love with Christ? What's that whole journey look like?
So my journey is definitely crazy. So I've always been in church. Grew up in church, mom took me. Now, we wasn't as consistent with going. Like, I didn't go to the Bible school, the Sunday school. I didn't do all that, but I was always in church until I was in maybe the fifth grade. In the fifth grade, that's when I started exposure ball. So we was always traveling, which means we really couldn't go to church because I was playing on Sundays. But, I always knew about God. I always knew who he was. I just wasn't really intentional. And I didn't really have a personal connection. I just knew there was a God and I believed in him. So going through high school and everything, my faith was really lukewarm. I still went to church when I could, because again, I was still playing basketball. But I really didn't dig in. I didn't dig into his word. I wasn't learning about him, at least not on my own. But then there was this one church service. I don't remember. I think it was May of 2016, maybe 17. I don't know. And he preached this awesome word, and he was like, if you want to come up and be saved, all you got to do is walk up. And for me, I was saved as a child, but it was never on my own. My mom did it, and I was, I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. I haven't been doing what I was supposed to be doing. I don't know if he's gonna want me, accept me. I thought, I always knew there was a God, but hey, that's about it. That's all I know. But there was just, I don't know, there was just this feeling that I had. I was like, Keke, you need to go. You just need to walk up there and just go for it. So I walked up there, got saved, not that same day, but like 3 days. 3 days later they planned, or maybe the next Sunday, they planned for me to get saved. And after, at the first time you get saved, you're like, all right, I'm gonna be on the right track. I'm gonna get into my word. I am going to do what I am supposed to do. No, not for me. Not the case. I got saved, and like 2 weeks later, I was back doing what I was doing. I was never like a bad kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I never did anything, I guess out the blue. Like it was never just bad. I just did not take the time to get to know him. I really got into the Lord was my freshman year of college. Everybody knows freshman year of college is very hard. Yeah. I was going through a tough breakup. I thought I was in love, and then, got my heart broke. On top of that, we were long distance. On top of that, um, I have I was just at my all-time low with basketball, with school, how the season going. And, it says that, God comes when you're at your lowest, when your spirits are the lowest. And I feel like, or when you're at your breaking point. And I feel like my freshman year, I was at my breaking point. And I know it's sad to say, but in reality, he's the only, like, that was my last resort. And sometimes, for some people, including myself, God is your last resort. When we know that he should be our first, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm, but it comes down to that, and it sucks that it had to come down to that. But I'm glad that it did, because that's when I first found, when I started, finding Jesus, learning more about him, learning more about devotionals, getting into my word, being more intentional about, going to church and hearing what the pastor is saying, and actually listening, because I just learned the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is when, you just know that God is like he's around in your presence, whereas listening is more of like being intentional and focusing on, hearing from him, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's when I started my journey. And again, it was better than the first time, but I got so busy, got so distracted with sports and everything. I was at, everything was going, it was going great when I found the Lord. And as always, I don't know why we do it, but we do it. I fell again. I got distracted. I put other things before him. And I can say that I just got back on my journey the end of my junior year, and I am a senior, and it's still been a rocky road. But I have been consistent. I have been more consistent than ever. And right now I am on my spiritual journey. Right now I'm on a 21-day fast. And I'm doing more things that I never thought I would do. So like, if we're going to be hot, transparent, open, I can speak on for myself. Where I'm struggling is I have a new relationship, right? So, we've been doing good and everything, but I really try to be in tune with God. So one of the things is, you can't have sex before marriage. And that is one thing that is I'm working on. And it is hard for me. It is hard for the both of us, but now I can tell that before, when my faith was lukewarm, I would have just crashed. I would have caved in, and when I caved in, I probably wouldn't have bounced back. It would have just been there. But now, because my faith is so much stronger, when I am struggling, I'm able to, go to him, pray to him, get into his word. And it's like the craziest things, because he knows what we're struggling with. So every time I open my Bible, it is telling me something that I know I'm struggling with. And it encourages me to, just keep going, and tells me what I should and shouldn't do. So right now, my journey with him, I feel like I'm on a I'm doing well now. But it can always get better. I'm still being more intentional about just making sure I'm carving out time in my day to get into my word, to listen to him, to cut out, secular music, feed my body and soul with positive things, with godly things. And I'm actually surrounding myself with, better people. And it's all because of him. I can see my game is elevating because, I'm giving him credit. I'm thanking him for the opportunity to just play. And right now everything is good, but I don't want to fall back to where I was last time. I want to keep going. I want to keep getting better with him.
And well, that was amazing, and I really appreciate you being honest and open with us, because that's something a whole lot of us struggle with. I know that was something I definitely struggled with in the beginning, and still now. It's a constant struggle. Young people, we see it all around us, and that's why I love that you said at the end how you try to cut out all the secular and feed yourself with the positivity and the good stuff. Because whenever you give your life to Christ, you got the spirit and you got the flesh that are fighting. So if we're constantly feeding our flesh with all that music and all the TV shows and everything that shows that stuff, how's our spirit going to be able to fight that when we're barely reading the word for 5 minutes a day? We're watching 2 hours of that movie that was all of that, listening to that music all the time. So I really love that you made that point, because that's huge. What are some of the things you're doing to help yourself stay consistent this time that kind of you didn't do the first time? Because I know the devil, he hops on you. But every time you decide to really start walking for Christ, that's why it's so hard to fall back down, because Satan's like, no. I don't like that. I'm going to get you back. So we have to do certain things to be able to help us stay with Christ and stay on that side of it. So what are some of the things you're doing to help yourself stay on this path?
So I have this book. I had one before, it's something like the study Bible. But I don't know if you heard of that. Have you heard of the study Bible? A lot of people have. But it's a different version. It's from a Black woman. And it basically, I get into it every day, and it starts at the beginning of the book. So I'm just now finishing Genesis. And I read like a couple of scriptures or a couple of chapters a day. And then they have questions at the end to where I answer. And then on top of that, I love Michael Tide. And I watch his sermons. I play on Sundays, but because it's online, I can rewatch it whenever I want to. So that's another thing I'm doing. And then I have this app on my phone where, I just click on it, and it gives me encouraging words. It keeps me motivated. So those are the things that I am doing right now. And it takes me like, and then I'm journaling. And I was confused because people can pray different kinds of ways. So I feel like my journaling is when I'm talking to God. Like when I talk about God in my journaling, I'm saying you. So he knows it's to him. And I journal, and then I say aloud what I said, so I can make sure that, we're on the same page. You heard me, or he heard me, just to make sure we're clear. Because, sometimes I had in my mind, if I just write it down, maybe it's not the same as saying it aloud. But I feel like when I write it down in my journal, I'm connecting more with him, because everything is just flowing. Everything is just coming out. And there's no, I don't know, I guess no pause to where, I guess you can say when you talk aloud, it makes more sense when I write it down. So he can be more clear. And yeah, those are the things I do. And then, like I said before, I don't listen to a lot of secular music. I listen to gospel music. I'm trying to, listen to more podcasts, just to stay connected with him, and hear his word. Even, if I'm on a plane, I can download that and I can listen to it while I'm on a plane. And then I have people in my life that hold me accountable. And that's one thing that I did not have before. I had, I have friends, but they weren't on the same level that I was. Like the maturity wise and where I wanted to go with Jesus, they were holding me back, if that makes sense. So now I have people in my life, from like my boyfriend, for instance, or Cameron. She holds me accountable. And I have people like that to where like me and Cam, we pray before every game and pray after the game. It's just the little things that we do to try to, include God and make sure that he knows that we're putting him first before everything. Even if it's sometimes I carve out, sometimes I may get home and I may have, maybe 15 to 20 minutes to spare. Sometimes it's an hour or two. It just depends on the day. But I just try to make sure that I get those things in daily, try to stay consistent. And then if I have a day where I'll fall off, I ask for forgiveness and move on, get back on it the next day. But I learned that it's a mental thing for me. Because, we say that you were an athlete, we're tired. We have these meetings, we have school, and we just make a bunch of excuses to where we can't do what we need to do for God. But we're doing all these things because of God. He's given us these opportunities. So we have to make sure, or I can't speak for everybody, but I've learned that I have to make sure that in return, I'm just doing what he asked. And that's what and it's great. It's great. It's hard too. It's great and it's hard. I don't like when people say, things are easy when you are trying to turn your life to God, and be that faithful, be his faithful student. Is so, for me, it is hard. It is hard because you're living in this world, and the devil can hear you, and if you speak it aloud, the devil, so when you're frustrated, he hears everything you're saying. And then, like you said, when he knows that we're trying to do good, he is just there to do anything in his power to just stop it. So that's where my mental comes in, like, you just got to stay on track. So yeah.
It's so amazing that you brought up accountability partners, because that's something that is definitely necessary. Just people that are going to hold you accountable and call you out and say, hey, you told me this is the path you're trying to walk down. You're deviating from it. I'm here to let you know you need to get back right. Like, that is so important, and we all need those in our lives. The last question I'm going to ask you is, what would you tell the younger Keke if you had the chance, based off what you know now?
Man. I would have told myself not to just give up so easy, if that makes sense. Like, God didn't put us on this earth for it to be easy. And I think that's what I would have told myself, because maybe it could have been a switch in my head that, just keep going, and just keep striving to do right, because that's all he wants us to do, is to just try. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what I needed to know. I needed to know that you don't have to be perfect. And he's gonna accept you and love you. He knows who you are before you're even born. He knows who you are when you're in the womb. So if I would have had that in my mind, and I would have believed it, I think things would have went a little differently, to just, try, and to just keep pushing, because it's not gonna be perfect. And everybody's journey it's hard to be on that straight line. But yeah, that's what I probably would have told myself.
Oh yeah. And all our young listeners, I hope y'all really listen to that, and just know, don't give up easy and keep going. Keke, we really thank you. We appreciate you for coming on the show. You got any final words you just want to leave in KBH Nation with?
Man, no, but I am really just proud of you, D. Like, this is awesome, and I wish I could be a person to do something like this. But you really started from rock bottom, and just to see you grow and flourish, this is amazing. I would love to come back.
Thank you so much. We'll definitely ask you to come on again. We really appreciate you. I appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you, D.
NMKBH Nation, it's challenge time. So through Keke's story, one thing that really popped in my mind was really just in the beginning when she was talking about the vision. When I asked what she wanted to do, and she said she wanted vision from God, that part just really stuck with me. Because I know a lot of things, we have our minds set in stone immediately of what we want to do, and we don't even consider God in the plan. So the challenge this week is for you to really sit down and look at your life and see if you're doing exactly what God's called you to do, and then tell us, because we want to know what you're doing. And then reach out to us and comment under this, or when you're sharing it, just tweet us and add us on Twitter and all that, and let us know what you're doing and tell us a little about yourself. We really want to get to know you guys, so please do it. And if you do it, you're getting to a drawing for some free NMKBH merch. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Not My Kingdom But His podcast. Hope y'all have a great week. We love y'all. See y'all next week. NMKBH out.